Today we're going to learn how to solve 3x3 systems by hand. And when we solve for these, we're going to use a little bracket to help us stay a little bit organized. So I'm going to make this little bracket. And this is what's actually going to help us figure out what to do and when. So the first thing I'm going to do is, according to this bracket, I have to have two equations go after each other. Okay, and we're going to be using elimination for this. So what I'm going to look for, do you have any opposites right away in which equations? So as I'm looking through all of these equations, I can see that my z's are always opposite in equations 2 and 3. So that's what I'm going to do first. So if this is equation 1, this is equation 2, and this is equation 3, I said I'm going to use equation 2, equation 3, and I'm going to cancel out or eliminate the z's. So let's go do that. So equation 2 is 4x minus y plus z equals 11. Equation 3 is 3x plus 2y minus z equals 20. And when I cancel these out, the z's go. 4x and 3x give me 7x. Negative 1y plus 2y give me a positive 1y. 11 and 20 give me 31. Okay, let's put a box around this one and let's put a star by it. And according to my bracket now, when 2 and 3 went against each other and we canceled out z's, we got a star. Okay, the next part. If you look at my equations, I have not used equation 1 yet, so now I have to use equation 1. And if I cancel z's in the first part, then I have to cancel z's in the second part too. The only question is, do you want to use equation 1 and equation 2 to cancel out z, or do you want to use equation 1 and equation 3? It doesn't matter. There's no wrong choice here, but if you look at this one's negative and this one's positive, so why don't we use equations 1 and 2? Okay, so let's rewrite those. Equation 1 is 2x plus 3y minus 2z equals 21. And equation 2, 4x minus y plus z equals 11. Okay, now looking over here, z's are not going to cancel right now because there aren't any opposites. So what we have to do is we have to multiply the second equation by 2 to get opposites. So the first equation stays the same. 2x plus 3y minus 2z equals 21. And when I multiply the second equation, I get 8x minus 2y plus 2z equals 22. So now the z's will cancel out. X's, I've got 10x plus 1y equals 43. Put a box around that one, put a star by it. Okay, so now when up in my bracket up here, 1 and 2 went against each other, we canceled out z, and we got another star. Now according to my brackets, now I'm going to have to battle the stars. Okay, let's get a different color. So I've got 7x plus 1y equals 31. And I have 10x plus 1y equals 43. Now again, it's up to you which variable you want to cancel. To me, it looks like the y's are ready to go, except they're both positive. So let's multiply one of these equations by negative 1. So that'll make that negative, and that negative. Okay, so now when we cancel it out, the y's now cancel, and I've got 3x equals 12, and then when I divide it by 3, I get my first answer, x equals 4. So I did all of that work to find out that x equals 4. So now what I'm going to start doing, I found x, but I still need y and z, so I'm going to start working backwards. Now when I did the starred equations, I canceled out y, right? So if I start working backwards here, y is the next equation, or next variable I'm going to find, and I'm going to use one of those starred equations to find it. So, take whatever equation you want. Why don't I use this one right here? So this is going to be 7x plus 1y equals 31. And I know that x is 4. So 7 times 4 plus 1y equals 31. That gives me 28 plus y equals 31. And when I subtract 28 to both sides, I get 3. Okay, so now I know what x and y are. I need to find out what z is. So going backwards again on my brackets, I found x, I found y, now I need to find z, and I have to use one of the original equations to find z. Pick whichever one you want. For me, number 2 looks like an easier one to use. So let's use number 2. 4x minus y plus z equals 11. Okay. I know that x is 4, so 4 times 4. Minus, and I know my y is 3. Now I just have to solve for z. 4 times 4 is 16. Minus 3 plus z equals 11. 16 minus 3 is 13. Plus z equals 11. And then when I subtract 13 from both sides, z becomes negative 2. And there you go. You found all 3 answers. The only thing left to do is to actually write them out as an ordered pair. So we're going to go with alphabetical order. X, Y, Z. That's how you should write it. So 4, 3, negative 2. There's your final answer. So what happens now in the next problem, where all of a sudden I have some missing variables? We are going to approach this the same exact way. So I'm going to use that bracket, that 14 bracket. So there's 2 teams, there's 2 teams, and there's that bracket. Now for this problem, I'm looking for opposites, any opposites that I see. And if I look, I see I've got a positive 2x and a negative 2x. So those are opposites, those are going to cancel right away. So that would be equation 1 and equation 3, and I'm going to cancel out the x's. Okay, so equation 1 is 2x plus 3y equals 3. The third equation is negative 2x minus 2z equals negative 16. And when I combine these, the x's cancel, and I'm left with 3y minus 2z equals negative 13. Put a star by that one, and put a star out in my brackets. Okay, for the second part, I have not used equation 2 yet, so I have to use that now, and I have to cancel out the x's. If you look at equation 2, there is no x. So we're kind of stuck at this point. So I have equation 2 that I have to use. 4y plus z equals 1. Now this one does not have an x, but if you look at your start equation as well, your start equation doesn't have an x either. So what we've been able to do is we've been able to skip a step. We can go straight with equation 2 and then use the start equation to help us cancel out another variable. Okay, so for me, it looks like the z's are easiest to cancel. Okay, however, I got to multiply before I get opposites. I got to multiply that top equation by 2 to get opposites. So that will give me 8y plus 2z equals 1. The denominator will be 3y. Sorry, the bottom equation will be 3y minus 2z equals negative 13. Okay, the z's will now cancel. I will get 11y equals negative 12. Nope, I already found a mistake. This shouldn't be a 1 over here, that should be a 2. Now that way, when I cancel, this will give me negative 11. Much better. So now when I divide both sides by 11, y equals negative 1. Okay, so now I found out that y equals negative 1, and now I'm going to start working backwards. To find my next variable, I'm going to use one of the start equations. Well, either the start equation or equation number 2. So, why don't we use equation 2 for this one? So equation 2 is 4y plus z equals 1. And when my y value is negative 1, so I'll get negative 5 plus z equals 1. So z equals 6. And now to finish this, I still need to find x. So when I go back to one of the originals, I can pick 1 or I can pick 3. I can't pick number 2 to find x because the second equation doesn't have x. So why don't I pick like the first equation? 2x plus 3y equals 3. Okay, I'm trying to find x, and I know that y is negative 1. So 2x minus 3 equals 3. 2x equals 6. So x equals 3. And then last but not least, let's just write it as an ordered pair. So again, x, y, z. So 3, negative 1, 6 is your answer.